LeBron, by the way, in 18.9.
Oh my gosh.
It's just too much of that action. And all God's people said,
Amen, brother.
High school 3-on-2 break.
Amen, brother.
119-96 is your final. Lakers, for the first time this season, have lost.
The Los Angeles Lakers have now dropped their third straight game, and yet many are still avoiding the obvious conversation. LeBron James is still in Los Angeles, and his era there feels like it's running on fumes. The crown doesn't last forever. Pretending everything is fine only stretches out a reality that's been slowly forming all season. The warning signs have been flashing for months. Inconsistent performances, defensive lapses, a team hovering around the middle of the standings instead of looking like a serious contender. This isn't about denying LeBron's greatness. That's cemented. It's about recognizing timing. At 40+, even legends face limits. The explosiveness isn't the same. The ability to dominate both ends for 40 minutes isn't automatic anymore. And the bigger issue isn't just him, it's the direction of the franchise. The Lakers don't look like a team building towards something. They look like a team trying to squeeze one more spark out of a fading era. There's a difference between loyalty and delay, between honoring greatness and clinging to it. Los Angeles measures success in banners, not sentiment.
So they need to listen to you.
Oh, they got to do something.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not in a. I mean, they pretty on paper, but they can't guard anybody. You cannot play in the NBA today if you're not athletic. You cannot. I mean, so it's a bit, especially big guys are irrelevant anymore. The game is led by perimeter players. And if you don't have athletic ability on the perimeter, you're going to struggle in the NBA. That's just the truth of the matter.
Have you ever stayed somewhere long after it stopped working, simply because admitting it was over felt like taking a loss? That's exactly what this situation feels like. The Los Angeles Lakers are clinging to the past while the rest of the Western Conference keeps evolving. Their 119-96 loss to the Houston Rockets wasn't just another defeat. It was a wake-up call. 3 straight losses, and this one was practically decided before the fourth quarter even got serious. The energy looked flat, the body language uninspired, and the urgency completely missing. This roster simply isn't clicking. At the center of it all is LeBron James. He finished with 18 points in a 21-point blowout, a quiet stat line for someone expected to set the tone every night. It's not just about scoring, it's about rhythm, pace, and intensity. There were defensive possessions where opponents sprinted back while Lakers players jogged. When your superstar isn't dictating the energy, the
that game last night, and I was a teammate with LeBron James, grew up playing against him, played with him in AAU, McDonald's All-American. I know this man. When he's not engaged or he feels some type of way, it speaks in his body language. Last night, his body language was awful. He was not engaged, he was pouting, he was moping, he was walking up and down the damn floor, he was complaining, and I just think we're to this point. What LeBron and the Lakers their relationship has run its course, and they need to figure out a solution. And the solution is not him being in the Los Angeles Lakers uniform.
Even the broadcast crew has stopped holding back. Charles Barkley bluntly said the Lakers can't stop a bloody nose. Harsh, yes, but is it wrong? This team allows straight-line drives as if it's part of a practice drill. Rotations are late, closeouts are soft, and the defensive resistance just isn't there. That's not championship DNA. Remember when the Los Angeles Lakers started 19-7? The hype was everywhere and the headlines were glowing. But if you looked closer, the point differential during that stretch was barely positive. They weren't dominating teams, they were surviving close games and squeezing out narrow wins. Now at 19-10, reality is catching up quickly. One analyst even used the word fraudulent to describe their record, and as painful as that sounds, it fits. The standings painted a feel-good picture, but the game film told a different story. No defensive backbone, no clear identity, and when the pressure increases, they unravel fast. This isn't about what LeBron James accomplished in the past. It's not about legacy debates or all-time rankings. It's about the present. And right now, this version of the Lakers
overall in the game, kind of starting in that first quarter on the glass and the turnovers and how that prevailed through it.
Yeah, you know, the two words of the day were effort and execution. And, you know, I feel like when we've done both of those things at a high level, we've been a good basketball team. When we haven't, we're a terrible basketball team. And tonight we were a terrible basketball team. And that started legitimate.
It doesn't look like a team built to survive a playoff war. The storm is here, and this squad looks like it forgot the umbrella. That's not a championship build. That's not a serious conference finals threat. That's a first-round exit waiting to happen, and deep down, everyone can feel it. On the broadcast, the Houston Rockets were sprinting down the floor on 3-on-2 breaks like it was an open gym run. No resistance, no floor balance, nobody stopping the ball. It looked like an October drill, not a mid-season matchup with implications. That's transition defense from a franchise that constantly talks about banners and legacy. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. When effort becomes optional, it's no longer about schemes. It's about accountability. The Los Angeles Lakers can tweak rotations, adjust lineups, shuffle minutes, but none of that matters if the urgency isn't there. Playoff basketball punishes weaknesses. It exposes soft closeouts. It magnifies lazy rotations. It turns
Those three guys on the floor, they have the 7th best offensive rating in the NBA. However, that defensive rating is 24th, and you saw it today. The Rockets got anywhere they wanted to go. They could not get a stop. KD goes for 25. Alperen Sengun has a double-double. Amen Thompson absolutely ruined those guys. Nobody could stop him today. And so if you're the Lakers, that has to be sort of worrisome for you that you can't get any defensive stops. Their best two defensive players are Jared Vanderbilt and Marcus Smart, but you have those guys on the floor. Now all of a sudden you're a little offensively challenged. I know Jared Vanderbilt had a pretty good game offensively tonight. We've seen flashes from Marcus Smart offensively this season, but it's sort of a catch-22 for JJ Redick about how
LeBron James is on the floor while all of this is unfolding. This is the same player who built his identity on IQ, control, and leadership, the chess master who reads plays before they develop. But lately, the defense looks disjointed. Rotations are a step slow. Communication breaks down, and when momentum shifts, the collective energy drops quickly. Let's be honest, LeBron is 40 years old, the league's all-time leading scorer, a 4-time champion, one of the most accomplished players ever. But prime dominance and sustaining that same force deep into your 40s are two completely different realities. Time doesn't negotiate. It doesn't care about accolades. The version of LeBron who could drag a flawed roster through multiple playoff rounds by sheer will doesn't appear every night anymore. That's not disrespect. It's the natural curve of a career. And this isn't just about age. It's structural. The Los Angeles Lakers have oriented their entire direction around keeping LeBron competitive in the present. Drafting Bronny James made history as the league's first father-son duo. From a storytelling standpoint, it was powerful, bigger than basketball. But from a roster-building perspective, that's where debate begins. Bronny is young and still developing. Expecting immediate impact at the NBA level is a major ask. When decisions lean toward narrative as much as competitive edge, it inevitably shapes a franchise's trajectory. It can tie timelines together that don't necessarily align with a championship ceiling. Meanwhile, reality keeps pressing in. The roster was built around complementary pieces like Austin Reeves, who is now dealing with a calf strain, not...
I think if they want to be a better team, they need to form some type of identity. I don't know which team I'm looking at sometimes. Sometimes they play fabulous basketball, even on the defensive end, and tonight it looked like it was lackluster effort.
I know it's traditional, but I think the Lakers need to play some zone until they figure out. Play some zone.
Well, when you play zone, that's a throwing up the white flag, red flag, blue.
Analysts have pointed out a frustrating trade-off in the Lakers' rotations. When their defensive-minded lineups are on the floor, the offense tightens up, spacing shrinks and playmaking dips. But when they lean into offense, the defense starts to unravel. It's a no-win puzzle. Boost scoring and sacrifice stops, or chase stops and watch the offense stall. Then there's the coaching layer. JJ Redick stepping into his first season as a head coach without prior NBA coaching experience and immediately managing a locker room centered around LeBron's presence is pressure from day one. Handling personalities is one thing. Navigating the influence of a global icon with 2 decades of leverage is something else entirely. When rotations feel questionable or adjustments stall, it naturally raises a bigger question. Who ultimately shapes the direction? Is it the head coach installing a system, or is LeBron's voice steering things behind the scenes? That dynamic matters more than most admit. The numbers add context. When LeBron, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reeves share the floor, the offense ranks 7th in the league. That sounds strong until you flip to the defensive rating in those same minutes, 24th, near the bottom. You can score, sure, but if you can't string together stops late in games, you're climbing uphill every night. The modern NBA runs on speed, spacing, and perimeter explosion. Younger teams attack downhill, force switches, and push tempo relentlessly. The Lakers often look like they're trying to keep pace in a sprint they weren't built to win. Big performances from opponents, easy paint touches, uncontested drives highlight a lack of deterrence. That's exposure under bright lights. To be clear, LeBron isn't the only issue, but he's part of the equation. At 40, expecting dominant two-way control every night isn't realistic. The scoring bursts are still impressive, the passing remains elite, but sprinting back in transition, switching onto quick guards possession after possession, and anchoring defensive intensity for 35-plus minutes, that's a different demand. You can see it in half-step late rotations and moments where urgency fades. And when the leader's defensive edge softens, the team often mirrors it. That's how culture spreads, good or bad. One analyst put it bluntly, in today's NBA, if you aren't explosive on the perimeter, you're vulnerable. The league is filled with wings who can guard multiple spots, recover quickly, and close out hard. Right now, the Lakers don't consistently check those boxes. LeBron's prime athleticism once erased mistakes. That version doesn't show up the same way anymore. That's evolution, not disrespect. The suggestion of leaning into zone defense raised eyebrows too. Zone is often a cover, used to protect weak matchups or buy time. It's not how contenders impose themselves. True championship teams dictate terms. They don't hide structural flaws behind schemes. When an analyst says this team has 0 chance at a title, it's